What's up guys and welcome to today's video. So I just went through my physical TBR and I pulled all the books that I am planning on / hopefully reading this fall. I've had them on my TBR for quite some time now. These are books like I've accumulated over the past probably couple of years, so I want to get to these hopefully during the fall. Now I'm sure I won't get to all of them because as the fall is continuing to go on, more and more books are coming out that I'm continuing to add to my TBR, so we're in a bit of a dilemma. However, I thought, I don't know, I just like book videos. I like talking about books and doing stuff like this. So we're going to go through all of the books on my physical TBR, not including my Kindle or anything, but also I do want to make a video here soon showing all of the books that I have on my physical TBR because I counted and I think I have was it 120 something? I don't know, I have quite a few books and a lot of them I still need to read if I'm being honest. So with all that being said, I need to hold myself accountable and start getting through my TBR. Maybe we'll make it a fun reading my TBR series. I don't know, I've seen other YouTubers do that and I always love when they do that because then I get to see what's on their TBR. Okay, so the first one is Witches Get Stuff Done by Molly Harper. Now this one says even witches can fall under love's spell. Now I did read a little bit of this and I soft DNF'd it within the first few chapters because I was I so need to wait to read this during the fall time, so I haven't gotten a chance to finish it. But I know there was a second one in this series and I did buy it on my Kindle, so I definitely want to read this. But from what I remember, the main girl is the main character. The main character is Riley and she goes to this town called Starfall Point, and she's inheriting, I'm pretty sure if I remember, her aunt's Victorian old home, and there's this guy who's the librarian in town, and of course I'm assuming that's the love interest from the sounds of the synopsis on the back, and he knows everything there is to know about Starfall Point. However, he's never seen inside of the shadow house, which is what her aunt's house is called, and it says Riley seeks out a coven for sisterhood and support. The last person she expects to be drawn to is the town's frustrating yet ridiculously attractive head librarian. I really like witchy and ghost and all of those I don't know, fun fall themed books, so I really think I'm gonna enjoy this one. The second one, you already know, is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I have no clue what this one is about. I've actually done a really good job at avoiding spoilers. I have seen a few people who read the trilogy, or maybe it's the second trilogy. I don't know how the series works, but there's the first 3 in the series, and then I think it keeps on going into a newer, I don't know, don't listen to me. However, I have seen people get so emotionally destroyed by this series, so I'm oh no, what am I setting myself up for? The only thing is I don't know if I'm gonna really like dystopian. I don't know, I've never really been able to get into it. I've only read some of a dystopian novel, and of course I can't remember the name now, literally of course when I turn the camera on, but I'd be curious to see what I think about this book. And it doesn't really even say anything. All it says is his wife's taken, his people enslaved, driven by a longing for justice and the memory of lost love, Darrow will stop at nothing to bring down his enemies, even if he must become one of them to do so. Okay, that's kind of scary and crazy. Okay, so it does say the complete Red Rising trilogy. So Red Rising, Golden Sun, and Morning Star. And then there's I think 3 others after that. Okay, but it does say reminiscent of the Hunger Games and Game of Thrones, which I've never, I know about those. I did watch the first Hunger Games movie. I don't know if there's even more. Is there? I have no clue. Anyways, so I'm assuming it's dystopian, right? Okay. So the next one we have is Love and Other Conspiracies by Mallory Marlowe. I'm so excited to read this. I have had this on my TBR for a while now. I think I even bought it on my Kindle. I think it was on sale for $1.99 or something. I did see that she came out with another one recently, and it's about UFOs or something, aliens, and I did order that one. So I think it came out in the last month or so. I need to read them. I'm excited, and I think she's coming out with another one. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it's a ghost one or something. I don't know. So the back of this one says the hardest thing for a paranormal conspiracy theorist and a web series producer to believe in is finding love in this swoony debut. Oh, it's her debut novel. That's so cool. Romantic comedy. Pretty much says Haley's life is imploding after she's dumped by her hotshot ex. And then Hayden is made a name for himself, blah, 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 on his podcast. Okay, so as Hayden and Haley investigate the unknown, they unearth feelings for each other that shake their beliefs to the core. In their search for Mothman, aliens, and the truth, the most elusive discovery might just be learning to love again. How cool and cute does that sound? So I just thought that'd be so fun. I've never read a book about Sasquatch. It almost like the name almost eluded me. But anyways, I want to read this one and her other one. I'll pop that one up on the screen so you can see it. Okay, so this one is called The Book Eaters by sunyi Dean, I think is how you pronounce it. I want to read it. It's been on my TBR for at least like 2 years. So it says, truth is found between the stories we're fed and the stories we hunger for. So if I remember this correctly, it's about people who have to like eat books. Yeah, so it says eating a map can help them remember destinations and children when they misbehave and are forced to eat dry, musty pages from dictionaries. Devon is a part of the family, an old and reclusive clan of book eaters. Her brothers grew up feasting on stories of valor and adventure, and Devon, like all of the other book eater women, is raised on a carefully curated diet of fairy tales and cautionary stories. That I have never heard of anything like this before. So this one is called the Invocations. Invocations by Krystal Sutherland. I know nothing about this book. I've actually never seen anybody read or talk about this book either. I found this randomly a couple months ago, maybe actually last fall at Barnes & Noble, and I was like, I'm gonna get it. It looks interesting. So it says, when a supernatural serial killer begins targeting witches, 3 young women from very different backgrounds must work together to hunt the killer down. Okay, I didn't realize it was about that. I've never read a book, I don't think, with like serial killer vibes or anything, so I have a feeling this is going to be really scary, but I am excited because again, I like witchy stuff, so that'll be cool. Now, everybody knows this book, Fourth Wing, and look at how pretty. I love this version of it. I'm so happy it's in paperback. I've never read the Fourth Wing series. I know Onyx Storm came out this year, and I still have yet to even read Fourth Wing, and I need to. Because 1, I have really big FOMO, and 2, I just love fantasy books. So we're going to read this. I'm not going to explain this one because I'm sure you already know, but the girl in it, she's at like a war college or something, and there's dragons, and that's what I'll leave you with. But her name is Violet. And then what's the main guy's name? Zayden. Okay, yeah, I've seen like snippets of them. Now this one is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandanna, I think is how you say it. Okay, so this one I actually started reading in, I think it was February, and I think I got like 30% through, and I soft DNF'd it because I was on a trip at the time, and I was reading it on my Kindle, and I was like, again, like I need to save this for the fall time. I don't know why I'm like that. It's like my toxic trait. I want to be better at reading like other kinds of books, like fall books or witchy books, ghost, scary books, all during all seasons, but something I'm working on. Okay, so this one says, a warm and uplifting novel about an isolated witch whose opportunity to embrace a quirky new family and a new love changes the course of her life. So what I remember from this, what's her name again? Okay, so Mika Moon. So she ends up, she's like an influencer, and she posts witchy stuff on, I think what their equivalence is like Instagram or TikTok. She ends up getting reached out to by this family who has these 2 witches who need training, and Mika goes to their house and starts working with them, and that's where I got. So I haven't gotten very far. So there's that one. Now I do have the second one in this series. I don't know if is it just like standalones technically? Probably. I'd have to look, but this is the author's latest book, and I'm also really excited to read this one. I think her covers are so beautiful too. So this one is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. So cute. I think this one, when did it come out? Like February or something? I don't remember. But so it says, a whimsical and heartwarming novel about a witch who has a second chance to get her magical powers and her life back on track, from the national best-selling author of The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. The main character in this one is Sarah Swan. She's one of the most powerful witches in Britain. Okay, so from the sounds of this, it says that she has to help run an enchanted inn. That sounds so fun. I love that. I love the covers too. This is the next one, Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. I know I've read some books by this author. I think I read like House Across the Lake. I've read, oh my gosh, I have to look this up actually. Okay, so these are the books I've read by Riley Sager. So I read The House Across the Lake, which was crazy. And then I read Lock Every Door, which was also crazy. And that's it. So I've actually read quite a few books from this author. So I do have Home Before Dark, and I did also soft DNF this one when I started reading it. I think I just got too scared, and I was like, again, I think I'm gonna wait till the fall time. There's a trend here clearly, but this one it takes place in Vermont, and let's see, it says 25 years ago, Maggie and her parents, Ewan, I don't know how to pronounce that, and Jess moved into Bainbury Hall, a rambling Victorian estate in the Vermont woods. 3 weeks later, they fled in the dead of the night, an ordeal Ewan later recounted in a non-fiction book, oh yeah, okay, I'm starting to remember, titled House of Horrors. And then Maggie is restorer of old homes. Okay, I remember. All right, so because I didn't get too far into it, probably like 20% through. This girl, her father wrote a memoir about the house, and from what I'm gathering and kind of remember, and spooky things start happening. And apparently when it was going on, like she was too young to remember. Okay, so there's that one. All right, the next one we have is Small Town Big Magic. I have had this. I bought this so long ago, I can't even remember. So this one is by Hazel, Beck, and it says there's no such thing as witches, right? So there's this one. I don't know anything about this one, but I'm pretty sure it's a series. Then I also have Powerless by Lauren Roberts on my list. I have no clue what this series is about, and I have seen so many incredible things about it. Everybody loves it. There's like 4 or 5 books in the series, I think, and I'm excited. I might do a reading vlog, and I have an idea for it with this one, so be on the lookout for that if you're interested. I'm excited. I can't wait. It is a pretty chunky book though. Okay, and then the next one we have is Stephen King Fairy Tale, which I did see Ashlyn read this. Also love her videos. Love her. Adorable. She does book videos and vlogs, but I'm pretty sure like a year ago or something, I saw her talk about this book and I want to read it. I did start The Shining when was it? A couple months ago, and it was just so dark for me and I got really creeped out, and I don't know, the writing was so dark and I just couldn't get into it. I was too scared, so I put it down. But I don't think this one's scary. Okay, so Charlie starts doing jobs for Mr. Bowditch and loses his heart to radar. Then when Bowditch dies, he leaves Charlie a cassette tape telling a story no one would believe. What Bowditch knows and has kept secret all his long life is that inside the shed is a portal to another world. Okay, yeah, so I think this one would also be perfect to read during the fall. Okay, and then we have another Stephen King one. I have another one, obviously, The Shining, that I read over there, or I didn't finish. I read a little bit. So this one's Pet Sematary. This one, I have no clue what it's about, but it does take place in Maine, and I've always wanted to go to Maine. But I think actually I was reading something about Stephen King, and he said that this, and I could be wrong, but this one is like, The Shining is the one that like messes with people the most, but this is his scariest, darkest book he's ever written. So I was like, oh no, that's not good for me. Okay, and then this one I actually picked up recently. I went to Barnes & Noble and my friend recommended it. It's called Blood Over Brighthaven. I have no clue what it's about at all, actually. It says the first woman ever admitted to a prestigious order of mages unravels a secret conspiracy that could change the practice of magic forever in this provocative standalone novel that deftly incorporates elements of science and philosophy into dark academia. I don't think I've ever read a dark academia though, but I'm really curious to see if I like it. And then I have One Dark Window. Man, I bought this one a long time ago by Rachel Gillig. And I'm pretty sure this one and the other one in the series are on Kindle Unlimited, by the way. So we have it on there too. But this one says Elspeth needs a monster and the monster might be her. Now, I think I remember reading like a chapter or 2 of this one. It's about this girl who has this like virus or something and she can hear thoughts in her head, or somebody lives in her head. Not entirely sure. Okay, the next one is Cackle by Rachel Harrison. So like I was saying, I read Play Nice by Rachel Harrison and I really enjoyed it, and this is her first book that I ever had purchased. It says a darkly funny, frightening novel about a young woman meeting a witch who might be too good to be true. There's like a lot of witchy books, I'm realizing. Oh my god, this one's a witch one too. Okay, so Weyward by Emilia Hart. This is like the most beautiful cover to me. I don't know why I love it so much. Oh wow, this is her debut. That's really cool. So it says a brave and original debut and a spellbinding story about the legacy of witchcraft. And from what I remember, I think it's like, it clearly like takes place in different timelines. You get different timelines, I'm assuming, because it says 2019, 1619, and 1942. And I think it goes back and forth like between the different witches and the coven. I don't know. Oh yeah, so it says on the front, it says they call us witches, we call ourselves wayward. So there's that one. But I did way too much talking. I'm gonna go ahead and start editing this video. If you have any books that I could add to my fall TBR, or just in general my TBR, because adding books to your TBR, you know how they say like book shopping and reading are 2 totally different hobbies in themselves? Well, I feel like adding books to my TBR is also a hobby of mine. So if you have any good recommendations, definitely let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.